Welcome to another edition of Self-Defense Across America. It appears charges won't be filed against a man after he shot a fugitive accused of breaking into his home. Butler City officers said they found the resident holding 43-year-old Nathan Harvey at bay after they were called to Sterling Avenue shortly before 5 p.m. on Wednesday for a report of a burglary in progress. Police said they learned Harvey, who the two residents didn't know, got in through a locked basement door. The one resident said he gave repeated warnings and even fired a warning shot. But police said Harvey wasn't deterred. The resident shot him once in the abdomen. Officers got Harvey out of the house and took him to the hospital with a graze wound. He's being held for observation for an unrelated issue. Officials learned Harvey was wanted by Butler County Sheriff's Office. A warrant was filed for felony burglary. Once he's released, he'll be arrested and arraigned. The residents are fully cooperating, and it appears no charges will be filed. Detectives with the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department are investigating self-defense claims after a man shot dead in an oil change service station in Antioch late Wednesday night. According to MNPD, 33-year-old Larry Johnson Jr. drove to the Valvoline instant oil change station at 1109 Bell Road around 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday and asked that someone help him put air in one of his tires. When no one assisted him, he began using the air compressor hose to fill the tire himself. One of the employees, 22-year-old Terrence Smith, then told the man he was not allowed to do that and took the hose away from him. The two began arguing, prompting the manager, 32-year-old Brooklyn Key, to instruct the man to leave. The man then punched Smith in the face, who then pushed him, and a fight ensued. Police said the Key retrieved a pistol from his vehicle in the parking lot and returned to the men fighting. Smith pushed the man into the driver's seat of his car and was walking away when Johnson grabbed a gun from inside the Chrysler and started firing. Smith was hit in the arm and the hip. Upon seeing this, Key fired one shot at Johnson, striking him in the head. Police said he died at the scene. Smith was transported to the hospital and is in stable condition. Police reported the man's gun was taken from the scene by an unidentified man after the shooting. Anyone recognizing the man is asked to call Crime Stoppers. The self-defense claims are being investigated and no charges have been filed. Police said a man and apparent thief are injured after an attempted car burglary turned into a violent confrontation in Bloomfield on Thursday. Officers were called to a home on Cottage Grove Circle at about 5 a.m. for a reported car break-in and shots fired incident. A homeowner told the authorities that someone had broken into his car, which was parked in his driveway. The alleged thief approached him, and the man fired what he described as a warning shot into the ground. That's when the suspect ran towards a vehicle parked in the road, grabbed a firearm, and shot at the man, hitting his arm. The alleged thief fled the scene. The homeowner was taken to the hospital for treatment of injuries. Police later discovered that the suspect walked into a nearby hospital with a gunshot wound to his face. Hartford police said a car with shell casings and blood was located on Madison Street, which is near the hospital. The vehicle was seized and towed to the Bloomfield Police Department. Detectives responded to the scene and conducted an investigation. 23-year-old Javier Ruiz Valdez was arrested and faces several charges in connection to the incident, including assault with a firearm, reckless endangerment, criminal mischief, burglary, larceny, and more. Police arrested a Springfield man who checked himself into Bay State Medical Center with gunshot wounds earlier in the day on Thursday. After an investigation by the Springfield Police Department's homicide unit, the patient, 37-year-old Thomas Whitlock, was charged with murder in connection with a shooting on Leland Drive at about 9 a.m. Thursday, August 31st. The other gunshot victim died at Bay State shortly after the shooting, according to a police spokesperson. Authorities have not yet identified the dead victim. The suspect and the deceased were well known to each other and are alleged to have shot one another. Police arrested Whitlock around 12:15 while at Bay State. His arraignment is expected at a later date. Along with murder, Whitlock has been charged with carrying a firearm without a license, carrying a loaded firearm without a license, and discharging a firearm within 500 feet of a building. Walsh said the department's homicide unit and the Hamden District Attorney's Office will continue to investigate the incident. Snead State Community College in Boaz was placed under lockdown following reports of shots fired near campus. The school issued a lockdown order around 9 p.m. as a precaution after shots were reportedly fired near campus. As of 10:20 p.m., the lockdown has been lifted. Boaz police say that the reported shots were fired by a resident of a home on Highway 180, a property that is adjacent to Snead State's campus. The homeowner, who called in the shots, stated that he fired a gun into the ground in an attempt to scare off a reported armed intruder on his property. The Boaz Police Department is continuing to investigate. No arrests have been made. Police are investigating a shooting that left one man hospitalized in Fort Lauderdale Thursday morning. It happened just before 9 a.m. at an auto body shop located near the 900 Northwest 10th Terrace. Fort Lauderdale police said crews arrived to find a man suffering from injuries. Authorities said Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue transported the man to the Broward Health Medical Center where he suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Police said the shooter remained at the scene and was detained for questioning. Authorities confirmed Thursday afternoon that the shooter was cooperating with the investigation and no arrests have been made at this time. Police said preliminary investigation appears as though the shooter was defending himself when the incident occurred. A motive for the shooting remains unclear. Two people have been charged after a double shooting at a gas station in Columbia Township on Thursday. According to the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, deputies responded to a person shot at a Marathon gas station just after 3:40 p.m. When units arrived, they were met by a man who advised deputies he had been shot. That man, Nathaniel Gurton, received aid on scene and was transported to Cincinnati Medical Center. Within minutes, deputies were alerted to a suspect vehicle in the 5600 block of Viewpoint Drive. Once deputies arrived, they found an occupied vehicle involved in the shooting, and T. Dara Gray approached the officer and said he had just been shot. Medical attention was summoned for Gray, and he was transported to the University of Hospital Medical Center. After a preliminary investigation, sheriff's deputies said Gray was shooting at Gurton as he sat inside his vehicle at the gas station. The shooting is believed to have occurred over a dispute between the families of both individuals. Police in Everett, Washington, are still trying to sort out all of the details in a complicated call Friday night. Just before 10:45 p.m., police received a call for an attempted robbery at a convenience store in the 4000 block of Hoyt in central Everett. The caller advised the alleged suspect had a weapon, possibly a hatchet, and the caller said they were armed and shots were fired. The suspect, with the hatchet, had fled in a dark-colored car. About 15 minutes later, a call from a neighbor in the 3200 block of Nassau that a woman was asking for help with a person who had been shot. Officers and medics arrived and found a person in a dark-colored car who was suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. The person was taken to the medic unit in Providence Colby campus. As of the writing of this, the circumstances around the alleged attempted robbery and shots fired were still under investigation. No word on the extent of injuries to the person who had been shot. Given the long holiday weekend, we don't expect any additional information until Tuesday. We will update the information as it is confirmed. A 25-year-old male sustained a gunshot wound to the hand. The 25-year-old male was transported to the Mount Sinai in good condition. The 25-year-old man entered a previous place of business where he had been asked to leave several times before. The 25-year-old male refused, and a verbal/physical altercation ensued with a 64-year-old. The 64-year-old male produced a handgun and fired shots at the 25-year-old male. The 64-year-old male is a valid CCL holder. One offender is in custody, and detectives are currently investigating. Troopers are investigating after one man died in Auburn Friday. The Kentucky State Police says it received a call from the Logan County Sheriff's Office just before 2:30 a.m. requesting assistance to investigate a shooting at the 6000 block of Friendship Church Road. Authorities say they found through a preliminary investigation that Timothy S. Wright, 56, of Auburn, forcibly entered the residence of his ex-wife, Janice Wright. Janice Wright then retrieved a firearm before a struggle ensued. Authorities say this is when a round was discharged from the firearm and struck Timothy Wright. Timothy Wright was pronounced dead at the scene by the Logan County coroner. No arrests were immediately made. The investigation remains ongoing.